On today's Primetime Local News, a great turnout for the city's Your Voice Night. Residents had a lot to ask the council members.
Well, a lot of people are getting to the same place, looking at the same information, so it almost tells you that there's a logical landing spot for some of them.
And local schools from E.S. Laird get a creative outlet through their school band program.
They had to put in the work to get it, so they learned that important skill of, self-discipline and putting in that work and then experiencing the success on the other side.
Plus, pets are being abandoned when homeowners move out. What the SPCA have to say about it.
Hey, I'm Eric Bay, and today we are spending it with walking through grief. And now, as you can see behind me, holiday season is upon us, and they have been doing some work here, especially looking into holiday season, dealing with grief. So we're going to have more on that, and also some other projects they do have coming up here throughout tonight's show.
Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Well, here in the border city, the Service Sports Center was busier than usual yesterday with citizens stopping by Your Voice Night to ask questions on multiple topics. Josh Ryan has more on a productive information gathering for the city.
Issues like the building assessment in Lloydminster require immediate planning and creative solutions.
How did we get to this point, and where are we at right now, and what could a potential plan look like moving forward?
Some ideas from administration to address dangerous goods routes, the 2019 Buildings Report, and the plan for the Martin Brown area were on display last night, which prompted lengthy discussion with residents.
There's some things I'm not happy about, but you can't please everybody, right? But other things, yes, I think they're doing a very good job with.
I'm glad that they're sharing information and soliciting ideas, and I look forward to hearing the outcomes.
The main display, the Buildings Report, outlines immediate costs.
There's some big price tags on some of the buildings, and having that input is important in order for council to make a good, solid decision moving forward.
Even with those price tags, there are residents that aren't in favor of new buildings.
They've been around for a number of years, and they're part of this city, and I'd like to see them kept and fixed up.
Despite some disagreement, many people favored solutions brought forward by council.
A lot of people are getting to the same place, looking at the same information, so it almost tells you that there's a logical landing spot for some of them.
Participants came away with a clearer picture of the process at City Hall.
I have a better appreciation for the difficult decisions that our city council has to make.
And City Hall has a clearer picture of what the public wants.
We'll prepare a report and take it back to council for further direction and see where we want to go from here.
When it does come back to us after Christmas, I assume, it'll be good to come to a landing spot on some of these issues.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local News.
Earlier today, the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lloydminster held their annual AGM meeting, touching on their budget and recognizing the support they get from the volunteers. Our Jasmine King has more.
The AGM meeting gave Big Brothers Big Sisters the opportunity to show their volunteers and donors their appreciation, as well as reviewing certain numbers and new items for the upcoming year.
We'll review where we've been, we review our financials, and that has been a positive year. We're going to come in pretty close to a balanced budget, so that's awesome. And looking forward, we always like to share what that does look like. And of course, we are just celebrating 25 years of an amalgamated organization in our community.
For Mayor Gerald Albers, seeing what Big Brothers Big Sisters does for the community and the amount of people that support them means a lot to him.
It just speaks to the support of our community, the donations in the form of cash and time and volunteerism. And that's just an incredible, when you add that together, when the bigs come and help out the littles, it's just an incredible experience. And certainly I've had a chance to spend time with some of the kids, and it's challenging because we don't have enough bigs. And we encourage people, if anybody has the time, to come out and consider supporting this great organization.
This year, Big Brothers Big Sisters is celebrating their 25th anniversary. Robinson says being able to run in the border city for this long just shows how many people they've impacted.
When you look back and see the amount of children that we've served over the last 25 years, it is huge. And of course, we're always focused, number one, on changing kids' lives. So when you think about where you've been and the potential where you could go, it's pretty heartwarming.
They're also getting ready for a new rebranding of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
There are too many cats left without a home, and with the weather getting colder, public concern has been raised around cats abandoned by their owners. A post made on Facebook detailed the concerns of a resident after they noticed a cat abandoned in their area. Although most cats do have the instincts to survive on their own, it's not safe out there.
Being outside. So, they have the fur and, the instincts to hunt and everything, but they're used to that nice cushy home, right? So they're not used to having to try and find shelter outside. They're not used to having to dodge, traffic, things like that. So it is a higher risk for those cats to be abandoned outside.
The SPCA have rescued 24 cats from owners that left them. The organizers want to stress the owner should try and find a home for their cat, call the SPCA or Fur Babies for shelter.
I mean, we just, especially again, if it's been a house cat, it's not setting them up for success, basically, it's an animal and things like that, but they're used to what they're used to, and then being an adult, being thrown outside, not being used to that, it's really a risk to that animal.
The cat from the post has been rescued and is currently at the SPCA. The arts in schools has been widely debated about whether or not it's important for young kids to be part of However, the band program at ES Laird Middle School shows that having arts is the best way for kids to express themselves and still be part of a team. Abby St. John has more on this week's Beyond the Classroom.
Students in the band program at ES Laird work throughout the school year on pieces of music to perform at various concerts during the year, including a Christmas concert and a spring concert. According to band director Shell Jones, music is instilled in all of us before we learn to walk or talk.
It's part of what we are as human beings. Little kids dance and sing right from the time when they're learning to speak. And so I think the arts are a fundamental part of being a human being and being connected to other human beings and your emotions. It's just so valuable.
Band not only teaches kids how to play an instrument, it also teaches them an important life skill that they can take with them when they grow up.
They learn that skill of giving and receiving constructive criticism that goes throughout your whole life. If you can give and receive constructive criticism kindly and learn from it, that's a huge skill, I think, that serves them no matter what their possible future is.
As a student being in band, they're exposed to things and people they wouldn't have if they didn't take the program.
Whenever you're in class and you just have so many friends and that you thought wouldn't be your friend just because of band, and whenever you go to band class, it's really fun, and whenever we are working on pieces and we get that piece right, it's so thrilling and it's really fun.
According to the students, working on a piece and getting it right is an amazing feeling.
We feel really great. I remember this one piece that it was really difficult to play. And when we got it right, we all just were so happy once we hit the last note. We didn't even wait for Mrs. Jones to pause and stop us. We just were really happy and just started cheering that we got it done.
Band gives kids the opportunity to add creativity to their lives and broadens their learning.
Band, it gives me a lot of opportunities in life. It makes my life more rich, colorful almost. It gives a whole different atmosphere. It's more exciting. The harmonies sound amazing in the band room.
According to Jones, music is what brings us together as a society, and especially for kids, it teaches them teamwork.
Probably the best thing that music teaches is connectivity between people. And we live in a world that's increasingly where we're isolated and people are lonely. And this is an activity where you cannot do this by yourself. You have to be trusting and you have to build that connection with the people you're playing with.
For this week's Beyond the Classroom, I'm Abby St. John.
Don't wait until next fall to take charge of your future. Apply to Lakeland College today. For details or to apply, visit lakelandcollege.ca today.
And we now head out to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Back here today talking about walking through grief, and I am joined now by Shirley Scott. And so first off, can you talk, I guess, a little bit about the past of walking through grief and its beginnings here in the community?
Well, we began in 1991 in a little restaurant with 2 or 3 of us, and now we've expanded to Lloydminster, Vermilion, Wainwright. We do support one-on-one, we do support in groups, and do presentations in the community as well.
Definitely great to hear that you guys are expanding, and now recently you guys just did a little seminar, I guess you'd call it, about coping with grief, especially in this kind of holiday season time. So can you just talk a little bit about that seminar itself?
Yeah, we try to put on something prior to Christmas just to help people go through the really tough times of what is the first Christmas like, or handling the holidays, and also talk a little bit about what the grief process or the grief journey is, because for a lot of people it's very frightening to them. They don't feel normal. So we try to normalize their journey and also help them with some coping skills during the holidays.
And so what's the importance, I guess, of bringing up those coping skills and making sure that people have a place to go, learn a little bit more, maybe talk about what they are going through?
Well, I think people, when they're going through a grief journey, they feel very overwhelmed, and I think helping them with some tools and some skills just empowers them to be able to move forward in their journey.
All right, thank you for this, and we're going to have some more from back here again, continuing with walking through grief, everything you do need to know. But before that, we're going to head back into the studio.
It is -5 here in Lloydminster, fairly cloudy skies, and there is a bit of a chance that it could snow overnight, with winds coming in from the north at 10 kilometers per hour, making it feel like closer to -10 with that wind chill. Across the region on the Alberta side, -5 also out in Jasper, -7 in Edson and Cold Lake, -3 in Rocky Mountain House and in Whitecourt, -8 in Athabasca, -3 in Edmonton, Rocky Mountain House, and -4 in Red Deer. And on the Saskatchewan side, -7 in Meadow Lake and Melfort, -8 in Prince Albert, -4 in Saskatoon, and -5 out in North Battleford. And overnight, North Battleford, they could experience some snow this evening, with the temperature dropping to -10, and that wind will be at 6 kilometers per hour coming in from the west, which will pick up to 7 kilometers per hour coming in from the southwest tomorrow, with a daytime high of -4 and a fairly sunny day with just a little bit of cloud coverage throughout. In Cold Lake, they will also experience some snowfall overnight, with the temperature dropping to -11, and that wind will be at 6 kilometers per hour coming in from the southwest, which will pick up to 13 kilometers per hour tomorrow coming in from the same direction, and a daytime high of -5 and a mix of sun and cloud. Here in Lloydminster, again, there is a chance that it could snow overnight, with the temperature dropping to -9 and that wind coming in from the west-southwest at 7 kilometers per hour, picking up to 13 kilometers per hour coming in from the southwest tomorrow, with a daytime high of -4 and a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day, with a low of -9. And then on Friday, it will be a little bit more cloud coverage than tomorrow, with a daytime high of -5 and a low of -9. On Saturday, however, there's a 55% chance of some snow, with a high of -8 and a low of -10. That wraps up your 3-day forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Louisiana farmers have collected more than $180 million from President Donald Trump's multi-billion-dollar bailout package for farmers hurt by the United States trade war with China. U.S. Department of Agriculture figures show more than 75% of that aid went to Louisiana soybean farmers. But some are questioning whether to continue to grow soybeans next year, since the federal aid isn't offsetting all their losses. China historically bought about 60% of Louisiana's soybean. When Trump boasted tariffs to force China to change what he described as unfair trade practices, China slapped a 25% tariff on American soy products in 2018. And now let's look at your agriculture prices for today.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
Well, this past weekend, Lakeland College hosted the first regional qualifier tournament for ACAC curling. Our Evan Kenny has more on the results of the first tournament.
The pressure of the competition. That's what keeps some players from reaching their final goal. This is not the case for second-year men's skip Carter Bebby.
It's nerve-wracking for sure, but it's just something you have to handle. We've been in a lot of those games, a lot of tight games, so you learn to handle the pressure. Been there a couple of times, yeah. This year we know more teams, we're more experienced, kind of know what to expect. Last year didn't quite know what to expect, but having a year under our belt is definitely huge.
Bebby led his team to a 4-2 record and are sitting pretty. The men's team aren't the only ones who found success this weekend. The mixed team only had one loss across 5 games, and the women's team found a win.
It went really well. We started off a bit slow, but we picked it up and stuck with it. Came out with a good turnout.
It was great, yeah. The men and the mixed team have done very well, and the women's team come on strong in the end, so we're in a good mix. All 3 teams had a really good weekend that way.
As each team gains more experience playing with each other,
and I'm sure throughout the next couple weeks we'll get better and better.
The wins should start adding up. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
And now a look at your weather with our Abby St. John.
Thanks, Judy. We'll take a look at our satellite radar. Over the day, there was pretty heavy snowfall in the Edmonton area and the surrounding area around Edmonton, and it's made its way through Vegreville and Marwayne, and it's making its way here to Lloydminster as we have a chance of snow overnight tonight as it makes its way over to the Saskatchewan side. As you can see, Maidstone, Macklin, North Battleford, it's all making its way down more south of Saskatchewan as well, as it makes its way from Edmonton, from the Edmonton area. Current temperatures -5 here in Lloydminster, as well as in Maidstone and in North Battleford, -3 in Macklin, -7 in St. Walburg, -8 in Meadow Lake, -10 in Pearceland and in Green Lake, and -13 up in Isle of Cross. And on the Alberta side, -4 in Wainwright, Vermilion, and in Vegreville, -3 in Edmonton and Provost, -6 in Marwayne, -7 in St. Paul, Bonnyville, and Cold Lake, and -9 up in Lac La Biche. Tomorrow, a daytime high of -4 here in Lloydminster, as well as in Vermilion and Marwayne, -3 in Provost, and then -5 in Wainwright, Vegreville, Edmonton, St. Paul, Bonnyville, at Cold Lake, and in Lac La Biche. And on the Saskatchewan side, -9 up in Isle of Cross, -5 in Green Lake, Meadow Lake, and in St. Walburg, -4 in Pearceland, Maidstone, and North Battleford, and -3 down in Macklin. Overnight across the region of Meadow Lake, Pearceland, Bonnyville, Paradise Hill, Mirnam, and in Wainwright will experience snow overnight, and then Isle of Cross and Provost are sitting fairly clear overnight, and then Unity is just a little bit more heavier in cloud coverage, with temperatures ranging between -15 and -8 overnight. Your school day forecast for tomorrow at 8 a.m. It'll be -9 with a fairly clear sky, but there will be some cloud in the sky. And then by the time recess rolls around, it'll be -8 with a lot more sun and a little less cloud, but the cloud coverage will pack on as the day goes on. By the time lunch rolls around, it'll be -6 with still a mix of sun and cloud. And then by the time school is out, it should be around -5 degrees with, again, that mix of sun and cloud with a low of -9. And then on Friday, it'll be a little bit less sun than on Thursday, but still sun throughout the day with a high of -5 and a low of -9. On Saturday, there's a 55% chance of snow throughout the day with a high of -8 and a low of -10. On Sunday, we'll get below temperatures to 20s with the low on Sunday, and then a high of -16 as the high. And then to start your week off on Monday, it'll be a high of -15 and a low of -19. On Tuesday, a high of -14 and a low of -21, which will also be the low on Wednesday, and a high of -11. That wraps up your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news in the question of the day coming up after the break.
Back here again today with Walking Through Grief, and we have been talking a little bit about what they have been doing here in the past. And as Shirley Scott joins me once again, we're going to look, I guess, ahead to the future. And you guys have a few different programs coming up centered around the youth. And so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we have our Hope After Loss Audra's Legacy program, and it's a 10-week program that we offer for children who've experienced death loss from the ages of 6 to 16. We've got our new program starting up January the 14th, and so we're already taking registrations for that now, and that'll cover their grief journey and help them through some of the tough times of feeling not so normal in this world.
And now we did talk a little bit there. You guys just did have a seminar about grief and loss here, especially at this holiday time. And that's something you guys are looking at doing again here in the future. So can you talk about, I guess, why you guys kind of want to do that again and the importance of doing that?
Well, I think doing it again on a yearly basis gives people a time when they know that something is coming for them. And it's important, of course, around this time of year. Not that Christmas is the only season that's hard, but all the years of firsts. And we want people to have that kind of support that they need during that time.
And now, obviously, as you mentioned, grief can be at any time, at any point here in the year, and you guys do continually offer support. So can you talk a little bit about the support you guys offer, and if anybody does want to get in touch with you or find out about it, where can they get that more information? Okay,
we offer support on a weekly basis here in Lloydminster, and in Vermilion it's on a weekly basis. In Wainwright it's 2 Saturdays a month. And we do meet with people one-on-one for sure to support them one-on-one and within the groups. And we're planning on having a support group for those experiencing loss by suicide as well. So all of those options.
And now, again, you mentioned you guys are looking to start that about the suicide. So if people want to, I guess, know more or, I guess, keep up to date, can they find that information online, or where can they find that?
Yeah, we have a website and a Facebook, and they can always give me a call at my office, and I'd be willing to direct them and help them to find the right supports.
All right, thank you for this, and we're going to have some more from back here again, continuing with Walking Through Grief. But before that, we're going to head back into the studio.
It's that time again for question of the day. Of course, we asked this question. Popularized by Sesame Street back in 1976, December 4th marks National Cookie Day. So what's your favorite cookie? Do you have a favorite cookie?
I have a couple favorite cookies.
You do?
It depends on the mood.
Okay.
I like, oatmeal raisin, which was a couple of the answers in the comments. We had that.
And I like that too,
Yes.
actually. It's one of my favorites.
I like really any oatmeal cookies. I
Yeah.
just think they have a better texture, and I don't know, I like them.
Yeah.
There was chocolate haystacks in the comments, homemade chocolate chip cookies. One lady did chime in saying her granddaughter or her daughter makes them from the recipe from her mom, and they taste better. So homemade chocolate chip cookies were one of them.
I love that. You know what I like is Oreo cookies.
Yes.
And they have a new one coming out right now with cinnamon in it.
Like a churro.
A churro? Yeah, that flavor is going to be delicious, I think.
Yeah, they've come out with a few different flavors. I've never really been a huge fan of their flavors that come out. I think they're way too sweet.
Yeah.
But the original Oreo is still always the best.
And
but
Sesame Street, Cookie Monster made it huge, right?
Any homemade cookies, though, are
your thing.
Are to die for. All my mom's homemade cookies.
Really?
Oh,
so
yes.
This Christmas we're going to get some, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, other cute things and other wonderful things to look at are pets, of course. Thank you for sending these ones for us for a chance to win a gift card from the Pet Pad.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
In studio, I have with me Councillor Aaron Buckingham. Councillor, thank you for taking the time and stopping by in studio.
Well, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, I know it's a busy time for you guys, obviously. It's been budget season, essentially, for what feels like a month. You're probably happy to have the holidays roll around this time of the year.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing, of course, from October. Well, staff starts way earlier, but for us, if you're talking budget, that starts early on in September for us, and to get it to where it is today.
Yeah, this is obviously the, third budget you guys have, or fourth budget? So it's been a bigger challenge than some of the previous years where you guys have had to put the budget together, due in part to changes in the economy, a new government coming in, more cuts, obviously. What was the thing that caused the most, not necessarily stress, but the most amount of thought going through it?
Well, I think you have to consider all things. You can't kick the can down the road over and over again and put off the things that have to be done. But you also have to define what has to be done. So keeping that balance and trying to keep taxes in check becomes the challenge, the biggest challenge. As a councillor or as a resident, I'm a taxpayer like everybody else. I don't want to see large tax increases either, but you have to go with the flow. There's some very big wins in this budget. To keep it at 2.5% is what we've approved it at to this point. So it's been a lot of hours, both from staff and from council, going over that budget line by line and seeing what we thought was the best moves going forward and what's important. And although nobody likes any kind of tax increase, I can tell you safely that it's a win.
Yeah, it's a 2.5 tax levy increase while keeping service levels the same.
Right.
Are there any other highlights for you for the year? Obviously, this was the busiest portion of the year that has probably had the most scrutiny from residents and stuff, certainly. Anything else that stood out to you from your past year, 2019?
Well, there are a lot of things that go on. We didn't have the best weather this year to keep that road construction and things like that going, with over 30 rain days in the construction season this year. To be able to finish a lot of the projects that we started, almost 95% of them, is really also a big win this year with street improvements and everything else we were able to do, even with that many rain days. It was a really big feat by our engineering team. They did a great job.
That I'm sure people can understand, considering summer activities were at a minimum, unfortunately, this summer.
Agreed.
You obviously, as well, with other councillors, were pretty involved in the community. You've managed to kind of up the amount of events you guys have been to and the committees you've heard from on various community issues throughout the region. Any highlights for you there?
It's part of our job. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be out there. We're supposed to be hearing from residents, taking that information and taking it back when it comes to things like budget, and using that information to help us be the best informed we can be on the decisions we have to make. So it's always a pleasure for me. I've said it before. For me, serving on City Council is one of the biggest honors I've ever had in my life, and I take it really seriously. I tell people all the time, approach me. Email me. That's what I'm here for. Someone asked me after the election 3 years ago, what changed for you? What's the biggest change for you? I said, grocery shopping. It takes longer now. Everybody wants to talk to you about things, and that's absolutely fine. Your council needs to be approachable, and I think this group really is at any time. We're very open to that. So, and that's a good thing.
Have you ever had any questions brought up to you at, say, the grocery store where you went, oh, I haven't really thought of that framing of an issue before, or that issue before in general?
There's two sides to every story, of course, so it's always good to hear from people, whether they agree with something you've done and are giving you kudos for a job well done, or questioning something that's going on or hasn't gone on. So you're always willing to listen to those things, and it's never a bad thing to hear somebody out.
For sure. What are you most looking forward to for this Christmas break?
For me, a little bit of downtime. From the 20th, I'm going to take 3 days. I'm going to be off from the 23rd to the 26th, which will be a nice break for me. So it's a busy time of year for us leading up to it, and it's been a busy and I would say successful year as far as the city goes.
Okay. A couple of quick rapid fire questions for you as we finish up. Who takes the longest to get a cup of coffee at City Council?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Let's go with Councillor Torreson, but it's not always coffee. He likes his caffeinated beverages as well, not the heated ones, the cool ones. So,
who has the best singing voice behind the scenes on City Council?
Oh, boy, I'm going to take that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I do a little karaoke here and there, and have been in some bands from time to time, and have done a bit of singing. So although I'm not good at it, maybe I'm the best of the worst.
And what Christmas film will you and your family be watching this holiday season?
It's been the same for years and years. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is an absolute steadfast in our house, and a season doesn't go by without it for sure.
That certainly is a common one. Thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Appreciate the invite.
Cheers.
Hey, it's Justin Marshall from Hot 101.3 and Boom 95.3, radio stations around the Lakeland. And here's what's happening around the Lakeland. Well, we're in Bonnyville at the Festival of Trees. It's being set up right now. It starts tomorrow, goes right until Sunday. And Doreen Kushner joins me now. She is the organizer. Doreen, new this year, you don't have to buy the trees. You actually pay $20 and they're a raffle. You get to win the trees, right?
You do, and then you pick the tree that you like and you put your ticket in that box by the tree.
Another thing, back again this year, this is for the Kiddies Santa's Workshop.
Yes, it's a great thing that kids love to go and buy presents for their mom and dad. They decorate their bags and then wrap it up and they give it to their mom and dads for Christmas.
I know this is a huge hit each and every year. It's been going on for 12 years. It's the Festival of Wines. That starts at 7 o'clock on Friday, and you're still looking for people to buy tickets, right?
Yes, usually it's a sold-out event. This year it's a little bit slower. We're hoping we'll have another sold-out event. You get to pair wine with different foods, and if you're into the wine, you get to know more things about.
Well, what a great deal, too. $40. That's cheap, Doreen.
Oh, it is. You get food for everything that you drink.
Awesome. All these events you can check out at hot1013fm.com. We got all the details. So what does this go towards, Doreen?
It goes to child and adolescent mental health.
Awesome stuff. Well, hey, doing a great job with the Festival of Trees, and thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you.
And if you have an event you would like to feature on What's Happening, shoot me an email, jmarshall@stingray.com.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Amanda Perret is back with us again today, the Mama Coach Lloydminster. Thank you, Amanda, for coming back to see us.
Thanks for having me.
I want to talk about, first of all, offer that you have to help moms, and you're always about helping moms and their babies, which is awesome. So let's talk about this prenatal information that can be accessed.
Okay, so we have a new prenatal series that moms can access online. So what they do is they just sign up. It's for free. At prenatalseries.themamacoach.ca, and it provides weekly information to their inbox, and from week 4 to 41. So basically they can opt in at any point that they are in their pregnancy, and it's evidence-based information from the expertise of a registered nurse.
Okay.
So it goes through what they may be experiencing themselves during that week, as well as what their baby's doing. And we talk about, for example, heartburn, what they can be doing to alleviate that, and when they should go see their doctor, right?
And this is all free?
This is all free.
Okay.
Yes, so it's like a week-to-week guide on what to expect.
What to expect when you're expecting,
yes,
basically.
Exactly.
Now, some of the things, Amanda, we like to chat with you about are hacks, life hacks, basically, on how to deal with children's behavior, especially infants, toddlers, that sort of thing. So one of the things we often talk about is sleep, and it's difficult sometimes to get your baby to sleep.
Yes.
And one of the things that you have posted in your social media is a tip about actually having a bath with your child and kind of making that a whole relaxation experience for everybody. So tell me a little bit about the reasoning behind that.
So the reasoning behind that, it's something that I started kind of with all of my babies. When they start to get fussy and you're trying to feed them, you're trying to get them to go to sleep, but they just don't want to have it, right? So, you have to do all the things in their bedtime routine, like get them in the bath, feed them, get them ready for bed. Sometimes it's easier just to kind of do it all at once, especially when they're teething.
Right.
or when they get immunizations. You know, their legs are sore from those needles. So getting them in a nice warm tub with you and just feeding them while you're in there can kind of take care of some of those steps together. It's really comforting for them, and it's easier on you as well.
And you get to relax then as well too.
For sure.
As part of that plan.
Yes.
Having multiple children now, let's talk about managing that. You yourself have 4 children, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things that you would maybe go through on a daily basis that might be helpful to other parents that have multiple children, just to get through the day with organization and events? And like, is it best to have like a family calendar, or what are some of the things that you need to do to keep everything organized?
So we try our hardest to stay organized, but a family calendar definitely helps, and just kind of mark everyone's things in different colors. Being on board, you and your husband, you know, the same schedule, kind of figuring things out day to day. Being organized the night before can really help those school mornings go a bit smoother, especially if you have to get the kid out the door for the bus, or you have to get them to school on time yourself, right? So making lunches ahead of time if you can, having their backpacks ready to go as well.
Now, one thing that I see, I'm sure you've seen, and probably unfortunately experienced it, is the toddler meltdown in public.
Yes.
Do you have any advice, Amanda, on the best way? Because obviously all children are different, but just some general advice that, you know, if your kid is the one that's having a meltdown and you see some of these frustrated moms and they just get to the point where they just, you know, I don't know what I can do.
Yeah.
Any tips for dealing with that?
So take a deep breath because it's going to happen.
Yes.
And sometimes it's inevitable. So just try to distract them if they're really young. I mean, they don't really understand why they're melting down in the first place. It's probably because they want a toy or a treat, right? So just distracting them with something else, like, oh, come see you over here, or, you know, those can kind of help, as well as just talking to them and trying to reason with them and explain, right? But sometimes you just kind of got to let them throw their little fit on the floor and pick them back up and carry on,
and just keep going on with life.
Just smile at everyone around you.
Right. I'm sure enough people have experienced it to know. So,
yes, exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda. And just before we go, once again, if people are interested in signing up for the free prenatal series, again, what's the best way to find that?
So it's online, www.prenatalseries.themamacoach.ca.
Okay.
And I am often posting about it, so they can find it through there
on
as
your
well.
Facebook or, or
on
Instagram.
Yeah, and on Instagram, it's in my link tree as well. They can just go right to the link through there.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate when you stop by and help us and all the parents out there watching with some of these tips as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you.